Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Earthbound Immortal Sun, Moon, Dragon deck profile. So I'm really excited for this one because of the new support that this deck got in the Legendary Duelist 5 Immortal Destiny, with support for the Sun and Moon Dragon. And guys, I have been so excited for this. I actually have the Ultimate Rare versions of the Sun and the Moon Dragon. I have Ultimate Rare Earthbound Immortals, but I didn't want to pull them out and throw them in the deck because I really want to keep them in mint condition. So let's get straight on this. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, become part of the notification squad, and let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing one copy of Earthbound Immortal Uru. So with it, basically, the Earthbound Immortals share the ability that they can only be on the field if you control a field spell, which is really important to their abilities. They can all attack directly, and they cannot be targeted for attacks. They almost have like an intimidation ability, and you can only control one face-up Earthbound Immortal. And then once per turn, this particular Earthbound Immortal's effect is that once per turn, you contribute one other monster, then target one face-up monster opponent controls, and take control of that target until the end phase of the turn. Then I play 3 copies of Earthbound Immortal Ko-Fi. Ko-Fi is really an interesting Earthbound Immortal. Its effect kind of doesn't make sense, but you have to have the 3k attack to OTK your opponent to be able to, go in. To me, it doesn't make sense because you're never going to attack a monster. This card can attack directly, and if this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, inflict damage to your opponent equal to destroyed monster's original attack. It's one of those, wait a minute, if I'm attacking directly, why am I going to attack a monster? But it's still the best one because it can attack directly. Now, you can play any combination of 4 Earthbound Immortals you want, but I wanted to play the 3,000 attack point Earthbound Immortals. You could play 2 Uru and 2 Ko-Fi, or play Alasian Piscu and play 1-1 of Uru and Ko-Fi, but I really wanted to play this ratio. But you can play any ratio of 2, anywhere from 3 to 4 Earthbound Immortals in the deck is what I found works the best. But I like playing 4 because I want to get my Earthbound Immortals quickly. Then I play 3 of the new card, which is Earthbound Greater Linewalker. Basically, if you control a Synchro monster and have a Synchro monster in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. And then during your main phase, you can add an Earthbound Immortal monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And if an Earthbound Immortal monster is normal summoned while this card is on the field, you can make your opponent's life points 3,000, which makes it so you can instantly attack them directly with Uru or Ko-Fi and immediately in the game. So it's really a good effect. Then we play 3 copies of Ascatar Dawnwalker. This card, you basically discard a card to special summon this card from your hand in defense position. Then you get to special summon a Fire Ant Ascatar from your hand or deck. But you cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this effect, except for Synchro monsters. So that's important to keep in mind. But that's not that big of a deal because we're going to be summoning the Sun and Moon Dragon normally the most. Then we play 3 copies of Supe Duskwalker. You can discard a card from your hand to special summon this card, but instead of summoning Fire Ant Ascatar, you can summon Supe from your hand or deck. But it shares the ability that you cannot special summon monsters from the hand or extra deck, or from the extra deck, except for your respected Synchro monsters. Then I play double Fire Ant Ascatar. Fire Ant Ascatar is basically a level 3 tuner monster, and then when it's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can select and special summon one level 5 monster in your graveyard and negate its effects, and sent to the graveyard during the end phase of this turn. But it's a good normal summon to put on the field in face down defense if you start weak, but I never really start weak in this deck. But it's got a good effect. Basically, it's a vanilla. Then we play double Supe. Supe is basically when this card's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can special summon one Oracle from the Sun from your deck and have its attack doubled, but return it to the hand during the owner's end phase, which is not that big of a deal. You just want to have the the Oracle of the Sun in your deck. Because of that ability, I just play 1 copy of Oracle of the Sun. But basically, Supe is just a level 1 tuner that lets us go into the Moon Dragon. Then I play a little sub-engine in here that's my personal little fun sub-engine, and that's 3 copies of Malicious because Malicious just went to 3, and 2 copies of Plague Spreader because they're really good for synchro summoning into bigger dragon XYZ monster, or synchro monsters. Then I play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is really good in deck because you want to stop your opponent from doing all sorts of shenanigans. But basically, this engine in here is you want to not have Supe and Fire Ant Ascatar in your hand, and so you use the Plague Spreader to put them back on top of your deck because I never want to have them in my hand anyways. and you just put them back on top of the deck so you don't brick with them. And then Malicious lets us go into link plays on our first turn, so we can have the arrows so we can summon the Sun and the Moon Dragon on our opponent's turn, or on our turn, we can summon them both at the same time, which you always just want to kind of have one on the field and one in the grave, but sometimes you do want to have both on the field at the same time, which is an option with the extra, special summoning with Malicious and your Plague Spreader. And these allow us to go into so many more plays as well. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Call by the Grave, because you just want to stop your opponent from hitting you with hand traps in this deck, because you need to be able to plus as much as possible in this deck. 1 copy of Monster Reborn, because you can bring back your Earthbound Immortals and stuff like that. Now, you're not always going to summon your Greater Linewalker off of its ability where you have a Synchro Monster in your grave and on your field. Sometimes you will Tribute Summon it off of stuff like Mausoleum of the Emperors, or bring it back with Monster Reborn or stuff like that. Like, I've had hands where I discarded a Greater Linewalker from my hand and then summoned the Sun Dragon with Fire Ant Ascatar. And after I did that, I would go into have it in the grave, and I would bring it back with Monster Reborn the next turn, because I would have like a Dustwalker in hand and discard another card, and then have it. It's a little complicated, but you guys will see once you start playing the deck what I mean by being able to revive it. Speaking of revival, we do play 1 copy of Earthbound Immortal Revival. This card's good as a good recovery card and searchable off of Geoglyph, which I do play 2 copies of Geoglyph in the deck too. But you discard a card and then target an Earthbound Immortal monster and a field spell in your grave and add those targets to your hand. So it's a good recovery card to get your Earthbound Immortals back. I played double Fires of Doomsday. Fires of Doomsday lets us special summon 2 Doomsday tokens that are 0/0 in defense position, and these tokens cannot be tributed for the tribute summon unless it's for a dark monster, and you cannot summon other monsters the turn you activate this card, but you can set. But what you do is you set it kind of like Scapegoats was, and then activate it on your opponent's turn at the end phase, so you can tribute them for a copy of like Kogapakapu or your Greater Linewalker. Then I play a Terraforming, because you want to have the Terraforming in here to search your field spells. Set Rotation, because you really need to get to your field spells. And for the field spells, we're going to be playing 5 of them, and that's 1 Mound of the Bound Creator, because it's searchable. Level 10 monsters, level 10 and higher monsters on the field cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects, and if a level 10 or higher monster on the field destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, the player who controlled the destroyed monster takes 1,000 damage. When this card on the field is destroyed, it searches Divine, but you don't play Divine. Then I play 2 copies of Mausoleum of the Emperor. Mausoleum of the Emperor lets us normal summon monsters without tributing by paying 1,000 life points times the number of tributes, which is really good for the deck. It's a good 2 of, because it's really good to have this to summon Greater Linewalker and your Earthbound Immortals, depending on what you need. And then 2 copies of Geoglyph, which if you wanted to bump Geoglyph down to 1 and put Mausoleum at 3 because you need Mausoleum, you definitely could. Now this deck is subject to change, and I might do an update of it in the future, but for the moment, I feel like this is the best ratio of field spells. Now, you can play around with the ratios as you want, but Geoglyph, I think, is an unsung hero in the deck, because while a level 10 monster is on the field, which is an Earthbound Immortal, this card cannot be destroyed by battle, or cannot be destroyed by card effects. And you can treat a Synchro monster as 2 tributes for the tribute summon of an Earthbound Immortal monster. And if a Synchro monster is special summoned, except during the damage step, you can add an Earthbound Immortal spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which is going to be your Earthbound Immortal Revival, and I play 1 Earthbound Immortal trap card, which you guys will see in just a second. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, I am going to be playing 2 traps, and that is 1 copy of Metaverse and 1 copy of Earthbound Wave. Earthbound Wave is just kind of here because you do draw it, and Earthbound Wave is kind of a cool thing to be able to draw into, to be able to negate spells and traps and stuff like that. And I really wish they would errata this card, so it would actually be considered an Earthbound Immortal card, which kind of sucks that it's not. But it is an option, so if you guys don't want to play this, you can drop it, but it's a good card to just negate spells and traps from being activated to destroy your stuff. As long as you control an Earthbound Immortal, if a face-up, you can negate the activation of a spell or trap card your opponent controls and destroy it. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So with the extra deck, we're playing 2 copies of the Sun Dragon and 2 copies of the Moon Dragon, which I do have both in Ultimate Rare. That's how excited I've been for this deck. Basically, their effects are the same because what they do is if one is destroyed, if this card is on the field is destroyed, you can special summon the opposite one. And when this card is selected as an attack target, gain life points equal to half the attacking monster's attack. And then when this card is destroyed by battle, when this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, the monster that destroyed this card and inflict damage to your opponent equal to half that monster's attack, which is pretty good as well. So both of these are really good. I think 2 and 2 is fine in the deck. And then I play 1 Beals because it's easy to go with Malicious and your Malicious and what's it called? Oh my god, what's it called? Malicious and Plague Spreader into this. Void Ogre, same reason, it's easy to go into. Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend is another really easy one to go into. I thought about dumping Beelzeus in here too because it would be fun to go into level 10 Beelzeus. Cyframe Lord Omega, really easy to rip a card out of your opponent's hand. So it's a good thing to get in the extra monster zone and then pull it out and then put it back. So, I mean, and it goes back into another zone. Black Rose Dragon, Supe plus Malicious equals this. Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, Supe plus Malicious equals this. And then Boreonic is another level 6 Synchro monster. I play 1 copy of Boral Sword because Boral Sword's easy to go into in this deck. 1 copy of Lambida. Lambida is basically here because of its Link Arrows, and it just takes 2 monsters to summon it. 1 copy of Wee Witch. Wee Witch is also here because 2 dark monsters and Fire of Doomsday tokens count as dark monsters, so you can use them. And then Underclock Taker is really interesting in here because Underclock Taker lets you target an Earthbound Immortal. And a card your opponent controls if the Earthbound Immortal is under this card and boost it up, and then the Earthbound Immortal can hit your opponent in the face. And potentially OTK them in 1 hit, depending on what your opponent's life points is at and what the opponent's monster's attack was at. It can make a big Earthbound Immortal with Underclock Taker. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think of this video down in the comments down below. Definitely hit that bell down there so you can become a part of the notification squad. And definitely tell me what you guys would like to see in the future. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.